Hey guys, so to wrap this up, I'm going to show you around this pneumothorax kit. So these are all the parts that you just heard about. And so we've got the catheter here with the needle in there to get into the chest cavity. And you'll connect that to this stopcock, which leads to the tubing, and then that connects to the Heimlich valve. So this is how you get air out of the pleural space when a lung is collapsed. Now, as you probably could have guessed, I could not get my hands on a real pair of lungs. So we're just going to say that this whole setup here is the chest cavity, and this Ziploc bag here is the pleural space, and this balloon, this happy birthday balloon, is going to be our lung. And this bag here that I'm squeezing is just you breathing. So you can see that normally when we inflate this thing, we've got air going into the lungs and the lungs only, so not the pleural space. And that's good. We don't want air in there. You can see the bag is expanding a little bit, but that's just because of the balloon expanding, which makes sense because our chests do expand a little bit when we breathe. Okay, now let's say that this balloon suffered some kind of trauma or is a smoker or maybe had some surgical complication. So I'm just going to poke a little hole in there. Now you've got a collapsed lung. So whenever you take a breath, we can expect that some of that air will escape into the pleural space, and also the lung won't inflate as much. So not only is the lung not inflating very well, but you've got air slowly filling the chest cavity with nowhere for it to escape. So you can see that over time, as I keep breathing, this pleural space will fill up, and it actually exerts some pressure on the balloon so that subsequent breaths don't actually allow the balloon to fill up as much. And that's a problem. So, as if a collapsed lung wasn't bad enough, the pressure from the air in the pleural space makes things even worse. And that's what goes on when you have a collapsed lung. Over time, it gets harder and harder to breathe. And that's the pressure that you want to relieve with the pneumothorax kit. So, while we can't directly fix the lung itself, we can relieve some of that pressure by inserting our little chest tube here. So, I'm just going to guide this catheter in, pull the needle out, and then I could choose to just attach the apparatus like the stopcock, and then which leads to the Heimlich valve. I could choose to attach that directly, or you could just use a syringe to get some of that initial air out. So you can see as I'm pulling some of the air out, you see the bag deflating a little bit, which is great. And now I'm just going to hook up the stopcock, and the valve is open. So now once I attach that, you're going to have gradual airflow down the pressure gradient and out the Heimlich valve. Okay, so now the lung should be able to inflate a little better. You still got some air entering the chest cavity, but it's not building up as fast, and some of it is being drained by the chest tube. So keep in mind you've still got a hole in your lung. The chest tube just keeps you breathing while that gets fixed, so you don't like immediately suffocate. So that's why it's used in emergency settings and in the operating room, because it basically just keeps the air from building up in your pleural space. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the demo.